Hello, this is Crystal Racing here to report on the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying results. And on pole position, despite crashing out on his final run, is Charles Leclerc, taking his and Ferrari's first pole in 2 years. And of course, he is the hometown hero. Alongside him is championship contender Max Verstappen, who currently sits 14 points behind Lewis Hamilton. And of course, Bottas will start third, whilst Hamilton is down in 7th. Sainz, Norris and Gasly will start 4th, 5th and 6th. Great qualifying for Vettel, who starts ahead of Perez, who has once again dropped yet another stinker. 10th place, and getting himself and Alfa Romeo in Q3 for the first time this year. Antonio Giovinazzi. Esteban Ocon is the first of the drivers who will have free choice on tyres in 11th place, once again beating Alonso in qualifying. Ricciardo, P12, very poor. 13th, Lance Stroll, 13th. Never does well with Monaco, so this is not really particularly a big shock, to be honest. 14th, Kimi Raikkonen, once again struggling in qualifying. And of course, it's only 2 tenths this time. 15th, George Russell, aka Mr. Sade, 15th. But then again, is beating Latifi that hard to... Is he that hard to out-qualify? Not really. 16th, Yuki Tsunoda. Just nowhere near Gasly's pace at all, half a second off again. Fernando Alonso yet again struggling, it's down in 17th. 8th, and then of course Latifi and Mazepin are the slowest of the guys who set time, whilst Mick Schumacher, what a terrible weekend he's had so far. Crashed out FP3 and it could not compete in qualifying, but will of course start the race because of course his times are within the 107% range, so it's not like, you know, he's dangerously slow like Alessio Delida in Formula 2, for those who watch Formula 2. Did Charles Leclerc crash out on purpose? I don't know. It's a total mystery. I don't think so. Yeah, he does turn in a bit early coming out, what's it, when he goes through the chicane in the swimming pool section, clips the barriers, and then of course, had nowhere to go but of course, and of course, with his wheel hanging off, he had to rest his car at the side just before the run-up to the last corners at Tabac and Massenet. But this is the thing. I know Max Verstappen was absolutely furious. I think Max could have got pole this time. This was not his fault at all. But Ferrari have been really quick this weekend. Seriously quick. Like, the engine isn't quite as powerful as it should be, but the chassis has been improved so much. And, of course, I've got to give credit to Carlos Sainz qualifying fourth, just 0.265 seconds slower. A lot closer to Leclerc's pace than Vettel ever was. Hamilton, though. Hamilton is in serious trouble tomorrow. He's going to be stuck behind. He's going to need an amazing start if he's going to try and make sure he doesn't, you know, have his championship lead cut into too much, because of course if Max Verstappen finishes second tomorrow and presumably gets the fastest lap, so that's 19 points for Max, and Hamilton only gets 6 points, that means Hamilton's championship lead will be whittled down just to 1 point if tomorrow's grid is represents the exact same result in the race. For all we know, no one, I mean, of course, the possibility is, of course, Monaco is the most likely circuit on the calendar where, I don't know, literally everyone finishes more or less where they qualified. Because, of course, this is by far the most important qualifying of the season. Antonio Giovinazzi, got to give him praise. Only once he's been beaten in qualifying by Kimi this season. I have to say, Giovinazzi, if he can improve his race pace, he'll be a really good driver in the future. Perez, though, is kind of, I mean, that number 2 Red Bull seat is seriously cursed for whatever reason. Whoever you put alongside Max Verstappen, they've just not been able to compete alongside him ever since Ricciardo left. On the subject of Ricciardo, though, he has been seriously poor yet again. I don't know what's happened to this guy. General all-round speed, yes, I know he's a new team, but it just seems as if he just can't adapt to the... Once again, it's just like how it was when he first joined Renault 2 years ago. He takes time to adapt, and I have to say, yeah, he did well last time out at Spain, but for a driver of his quality and his age and experience, he's a bit needy, isn't he? Sebastian Vettel is, though, on the other hand, is finally beginning to settle in Aston Martin, because I was beginning to doubt him for quite a while. Yuki Tsunoda, though, is going to be treading water for some time, because Pierre Gasly is absolutely crushing him in all-round speed, consistency, blah, 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 blah. I don't really have much else to say, but my predictions for tomorrow's race is that I think Max Verstappen will get ahead of Charles Leclerc somehow. I think either through a better start or a better pit strategy. I think Max will win. Charles Leclerc will take second. Bottas, I think, will cling on to third ahead of Sainz. And I think Hamilton will probably jump ahead of Norris and Gasly through the pit stops, but he'll be stuck finishing fifth, so he'll probably lose like 15 points at least to Max Verstappen and probably lose a championship lead, meaning that Max Verstappen will probably become only the second non-Mercedes driver since Sebastian Vettel to lead the championship during the non-hybrid era. Perez, I really don't have much hope. He really is having the same issues as Gasly and Albon, and I mean, at this point, Red Bull really need to look at themselves at this point. What on earth is going on that second seat? What they're doing is, the way they treat their number 2 drivers is beyond a joke at this point. Yes, I know Perez is not exactly on top of his game, but why is he struggling this much? I mean, yeah, I know some will say, well, his Q3 time was half a second, so it is Q2 time, so really, he could have actually qualified P7 if he repeated the same time in Q2, but the problem is he's still over half a second slower than Max Verstappen. Really worrying times down at Red Bull, and I've got to say, as for Mick Schumacher, though, I have to say, what a bizarre slip-up. I have to say, I think the hype over Mick Schumacher has gone a bit overdrive because, of course, you know, all weekend he's been outpaced by Mazepin, surprisingly enough. And Mazepin, as you all know, I have a very low opinion of Mazepin, but for me, this reflects very badly on Mick. So, a lot to learn for Mick Schumacher, crashing out FP3, crashing out yesterday in FP2 as well. But yesterday's crash in FP2 was only a damaged right rear, but today's crash is far more substantial. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to Crystal Racing. I'll see you again next